Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the third episode of Tales of a Geek podcast. My name is Julian. I'm here with Ignitus, and today we're going to be talking about the future of the Nintendo Switch. And yes, I know you saw the report of the mid-gen of the Pro rumors and all that being canceled, but we're here to say that they are true, not just joking. We're here to just hypothesize and just say whatever sticks to the wall and see what the fuck can actually Nintendo do for next gen. How can Nintendo up the Switch even more? Isn't that right, Anidis?
Exactly.
So yeah, let's start with. Do you want to start with just the report, basically? Might as well, since we have it here.
Yeah.
So for some reason, I guess a couple of websites have been reporting today that Nintendo had plans for a Switch Pro, for the almighty, all legendary, all myth Switch Pro. But I guess they said that they were gonna cancel it. Simply because most likely they, chip shortages and all around. At least the website that I have right here is from DualShockers. And rumors of a Nintendo Switch console have been doing of the rounds for years through the evidence to back up the claims have always been questionable at best. Today we have perhaps the best source, blah blah blah, during the latest DF Direct, that's the Digital Foundry podcast, over on the Digital Foundry YouTube channel, layman spilled the beans, saying that from what I can understand that from the talkings of different developers is that there was some sort of mid-gen Switch update planned at one point, and that seems to be no longer happening. So, what are your thoughts on that in particular?
My phone, I like that took me off guard. I wasn't expecting to hear this, because remember Nintendo said at this year, at this physical year, we weren't that they're going to see any new console, and then
Yeah.
they come up with this. So I don't know.
It basically is like confirming a myth. So basically,
Yeah,
the funny thing is that the Switch Pro has been rumored since basically like the beginning. Even before the Switch
yeah.
came out, I think, if I'm not mistaken. The Switch came out in 2017, and basically the rumors started already from before the Switch came out, and everybody was already, before even this, this handheld came into the market, everybody was already asking for a more powerful version of that handheld.
Oh,
And
wait, really?
yes, so it's weird, and this is interesting because this is someone. He's. I wouldn't say confirming. There's no Switch Pro, or there was at some point. It's more of that was what it was said, and you never know what if what if this information is true or not, but at least for what everybody is trying to report, and all the outlets are just reporting basically, and again we're just reporting based on what the outlets are reporting, that there was a Switch Pro in some way or form in concept, and then they just swap it out. They basically just canceled it. I think the reasoning most likely is because of the COVID pandemic, creating shortages on ships.
Everything, basically.
Yeah, and then basically with those shortages, it would have made more impossible or difficult, to just basically be able to generate a new mid-gen refresh for the Switch. How do you think would that refresh be though?
Like,
I don't see it like maybe the DS had that quote unquote refresh with the DSi, which was more focused on features.
mhm.
I feel it could be more for like the new Nintendo 3DS will be a little bit more power, but I really don't see the Switch Pro being a whole lot more powerful than the regular one.
Yeah, I, in my, well, I always thought that it was going to be a little bit more powerful, but not as people were expecting. As people expect 4K at the 60 FPS. I wasn't thinking that. I when you tell me Switch Pro, I think at the back to the new Nintendo 3DS, right? It's a little bit more powerful, but not at the like stupidly at the better, you know?
Stupidly more powerful, basically. But
Exactly.
the thing with the new Nintendo 3DS is that it had like its own library. You know, it had like Xenoblade Chronicles 3DS and
It
Minecraft.
only has like 30 games, bro.
But it still has its own library. And I think a lot of people were like maybe quote unquote expecting something like that. Like for example, if the Switch Pro came out and then that Switch was capable of playing a game, maybe I don't know, like Gotham Knights or something like that. Um,
Oh,
and
yeah,
that way it will be like exclusive for the new Switch. I actually don't see that because right now
I don't
Switch
think
has sold a couple million. I'm gonna actually right now while we're recording this, I'm actually gonna look for. I'm gonna look for the sales, um,
Mhm.
for the Switch, so we can so people know like the exact amount of everything going on. But the thing is, so for example, if we go to dedicated video game unit sales, so to give people an idea, right? The 3DS sold 75.94 million units, and 389.86 million in software. The Switch has sold 114.33 million units, and this is as of September 30th, with 917.59 million units in software. Now, interesting thing for people to know. Nintendo has never sold a billion units in software. I do believe the Switch is gonna be the first one. The closest it has ever been to that number was with the Nintendo DS, and the Nintendo DS sold 948.76 million in software. But we're talking about the DS, which is technically the best-selling handheld of all time, because it sold 108.54 million
Yeah.
units.
Everyone
So
and their mother had one.
yeah, you know the DS was like this phenomenon that when you went to Walmart, you bought bread and you bought a DS just to go on top of it. You know,
Exactly.
like
As a bonus.
you didn't need it, but it's like when you do that pina colada and you need to put the cherry on top instead of a cherry, people just bought a DS.
Yeah, yeah.
And and that's pretty much what they did. You know, people just needed to have like 5 DSs in their home. You know, one for the living
Mm.
room, one for the bedroom, one for the bathroom to take a dump on, I guess. But that's how people really saw the DS. With the Switch is very interesting because the Switch has finally catapulted Nintendo for their third console, obviously being sold at 100 million units. It's I think 3 million units short to match the PS4, which is very interesting, and
Ooh.
then a couple million units to basically become their first ever billion unit seller. So based on these stats, I really don't see them, uh, like with the Pro creating their own library. Because then why would you separate 114 million users from those games? Like I really don't see that. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Um.
Like
Uh,
what I meant about looking like back on 3DS and basically that's what the Pro was gonna be. I I didn't thought about the library, and I don't think that they were going to do that because that was a stupid idea. Separating the games from two different consoles, basically, yeah, it was a stupid idea, and
no,
I doubt they're going to do it again.
No, you basically the new 3DS. What it did is, it had some games that a lot of people wanted, like Minecraft. But the problem is that you brought those games, but you sacrifice. Those people need to upgrade to a completely new DS to be able to play it.
Hmm.
And that's the thing. So also, there's also, let me see real quick. Top selling on titles. Um, if you take an idea for games like, if you could take a look at the games, Mario Kart is number one, right? The top 10 is Mario Kart, Animal Crossing, Smash Brothers, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario Party, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, Ring Fit Adventure. I think nobody expected that game to be there. And
Brings it.
Pokemon, yes, and Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Fun fact for everybody, I think Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee is gonna be out of the top 10 because already Scarlet and Violet already sold 10 million units. So that one is already gonna take out, and it's interesting that Splatoon is no longer in the top 10 when it was in the top 10. So that's
Sadly.
another interesting thing. But Pokemon, as always, dominating those charts. And of course we have to, take a look at what Tears of the Kingdom and all that can do. But
Yeah.
but I never thought that a Switch Pro was actually, it was needed, but I didn't want them to apply like basically they did with the new 3DS. I didn't thought it was the best and most smartest way to go about it. Specifically being so successful from the Switch, coming out from the failure that it was the Wii U.
Mhm.
Now this report obviously is just reporting on that basically there was some sort of upgrade, there was some sort of expansion for it, but because of the chip shortage and the time, it doesn't make sense. The Switch has been 6 years on the market, almost to 7 years in March, and why would you upgrade a mid refresh in basically in a 7-year-old console? Like at that point, most people are already expecting the Switch 2, and that's where this whole conversation is gonna go for.
Fair enough.
So what do you expect from a Switch 2? Like what are your hopes, and what will be the perfect Switch 2?
Well, for me, a perfect Switch 2 would be keep the hybrid idea. Okay, keep the hybrid idea. Of course, make it more powerful. In the aspects that they're lacking, update the controllers, make them more comfortable. Because God damn it, the Joy-Cons are. Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
And another, I think, good thing that they can add would be retro compatibility with Switch games. Like something like what the Wii had, if I'm not mistaken. They had like a port so you can play the GameCube games.
Uh-huh.
So something like that to play Switch games. Because if they do, they already have what happened with the 3DS, that they have a shit ton of library already of games that you can play if you have the Switch.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So
Hmm.
one thing that they should do, number one, is obviously retro compatibility. They have done it with the DS, with the 3DS being retro compatible with the DS. They have done it with the Game Boy Advance, with the DS being retro compatible with the Game Boy Advance. And they have done it with the Game Boy Advance being retro compatible with the Game Boy. So in terms of handhelds, they have been very consistent of every handheld that comes next is retro compatible with the new one. Every single one. In home consoles aspect, obviously, there's the Wii with the GameCube and the Wii U with the Wii. So I feel they always take at least that into the equation when they always doing specifically the handhelds. So I really do expect them to actually do that, specifically now that they're utilizing the Nintendo account method, and this is the first time they actually committed to a specific system, if you want to call it. Like Xbox and PlayStation have been doing it for years. They're finally, integrating this type of system into the Nintendo ecosystem that they're trying to create. One other thing that I would say that for the next Switch should be a guarantee, it should be the OLED screen. I feel that, if you're gonna make another Switch, you should keep the best quality aspects of the one that you already have and just improve upon the design.
Hmm.
And one of the best things will be the OLED screen. You just put the OLED. I would say better battery. But you know what's the funny thing? So here's the thing. With the next gen Switch, we're talking about Nintendo, right? We're not talking about a regular company. This company really does whatever they fucking want. So the problem with Nintendo would be, how are they going to Nintendo that up?
How are they? What?
How are they going to Nintendo that up? Because here's the thing, like a lot of people are expecting for the next gen Switch to be just another handheld system, right? Another hybrid. But what if they just fuck it up and just go for a home console?
Ooh.
Or instead they just go for an exclusive handheld. Now, going with the hybrid concept is the correct way to go. I feel that the hybrid concept is what makes the Switch popular. I think is what makes it interesting. Because the
Mm-hmm.
problem is that if you just put the Switch to compete with the PlayStation and Xbox and just make, like, let's say the 4K, 120 hertz machine, yeah, they have the software to compete. They have Mario, Zelda, Animal Crossing, Pokemon. But the problem is that then what's the biggest selling point besides the software? Like,
Exactly.
Nintendo is always trying to create a selling point on their hardware. They're trying to to create, to innovate. That's their whole gimmick. That's what they like to do. So I really would prefer, and I'm praying to the lords of Nintendo. Nintendo, if you can hear that, I know they listen to this podcast. I know they listen to this podcast.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. I know for sure they do.
Yeah,
And
my uncle does. My uncle at their work on Nintendo, he listens to it every single fucking day.
on Washington, perfect then. So
Yeah.
basically, what we're gonna say is, don't fuck it up. That's all you have to do, Nintendo. I feel they should just keep it the same concept. Keep some things. I think one thing they need to improve is the Joy-Cons. I feel that they need to improve. I don't think battery or any other features it has, but obviously you need to take care of the drift. I think it's something that you gotta take care of it, and then you also have to take care of the ergonomics of it. I do understand why the ergonomics are how they are. Obviously, they tried to make it a way where you basically had two controllers with under one system, and that's totally understandable. But the problem is that for people, for regular people who have mid-sized to large hands, it's very uncomfortable. Um, Specifically, you're playing genres like third persons or first person shooters like Fortnite or Splatoon. It becomes a shit show. It's extremely hard to really be able to do that.
Yeah.
Any other improvements that you think they should do on the system on the handheld side if let's pretend they decide to go for another hybrid, and hopefully that's what they do. Any improvements besides like controllers or Joy-Con drift, or maybe that you think they need to do, like?
Well, I was thinking like give something more to the dock. Because at least the dock that I have is just I don't know yours at the Switch OLED, but it's just a piece of plastic with a few cables to connect it. So why don't I don't know if it's even possible. It's just me speaking. Like, what if you put like the console? If it's like a true Switch 2, you like put it and maybe like the dog como que la potencia, ¿no? Makes it even better.
Okay,
Uh,
so at least the regular dock, it's the console. The Switch typically outputs to 720p, and the dock helps to output to 1080p. So the Switch does improve the power, you could say, of the Switch a little bit. I feel that for this era, they should aim for a 4K dock. They should aim for a dock that can output 4K resolution. Doesn't matter if it is 30 FPS, because remember, this is Nintendo. You cannot ask for 4K 120. But I feel minimum they should be able to do 4K 30. I feel that the minimum we should be able to accomplish here for the next gen Switch should be 4K. That's the standard since 2016 most likely. So it should be fine. They should move to 4K at this point, and it should be interesting what they can do with 4K. But that will be one of the upgrades. Another thing is that at least the OLED dock does have an Ethernet connector already, like, in the dock. The first generation Switch did not have it, so that's also another difference of like each one per se. Any other?
You're a lucky. You're
What
lucky.
one thing that maybe I could say, depending on what they use, is that I would maybe put a USB-C connector on the front of the dock. I don't know if there's any accessories that they would be able to utilize with it, but I think it could be a really interesting feature just to put a USB A and a USB C port instead of the two USB A, because I think it does have two USB A's. Yeah, it does have two USB A's. Um, so I think that one USB A, one USB C should be quite interesting to basically see what the developers can do. Maybe you can also connect maybe a keyboard or something like that. That could be interesting. Even though you can also already do it with a USB A. But I don't know. I feel that having a USB C could be also better for charging speeds and all that. Um, Materials of the dock, yeah, they could improve a little bit. I feel that they can utilize a little bit of metal on that just to make it more
Yeah.
durable. One thing that I maybe would say is, I don't know. I think with the dock, the problem with the dock is that its fix is very simple. You only have to make it output to 4K. I would say that the perfect world, we are a dock that can output to 1080p at all times, and then 4K 30. I think that's what we could be expect. We should expect. Because here's the thing, right? The easiest way to measure this is we have a Steam Deck. The Steam Deck is out, and the Steam Deck has shown that you can create a handheld that can actually play third-party games like Devil May Cry 5, like Halo Infinite, like all these games at a steady frame rate. Like I played Apex, right? That it is a game that is currently on the console on the Switch, and right now on the Switch is 1080p. I think no, it's 720p 30, and the Steam Deck is 720p 60. So the basic tier for the Steam Deck is $400. My mentality is I kind of want Nintendo to just copy paste what the Steam Deck is and copy paste it for the Switch. However, they are not going to sacrifice battery life, and that's something that I don't know how they would do it, because the more years pass, the more cheaper the components become, and all of that aspect. But I feel that they should create a console as similar as possible to what the Steam Deck is. A good handheld that can, compare to the Steam Deck in any way or form. Because the Steam Deck, for example, right now it's not gonna have a major upgrade. Valve have already confirmed that it's not gonna have a major upgrade in a while. It's only gonna have like an upgrade to the screen and all those features. So I think Nintendo can catch up to that very easily, and I think that they should use those components now that they can.
And I agree with you. I think it's time. I think it's time to do so.
Yeah. So, um, what else could we, what else can we say about how to improve this guy, even more? I think we can. They can improve some accessories maybe. Uh, Good ones obviously are the satisfying grip and the Hori split pad. Those are good. But how about maybe the Pro Controller? How could they improve the Pro Controller? Like for me, it's almost impossible to improve the Pro Controller.
It's just the same here. It's basically perfect at this point. Just leave it like that.
I think that what they can add is definitely adaptive triggers. So like the triggers that the PS5 DualSense have, that basically
Okay.
when you pull a gun and all that, it creates that pressure. I feel it could be interesting to see Nintendo with those adaptive triggers and see what they do with those guys, on the Switch, specifically in a game like Splatoon, just to see how would that feel like. So I can see that feature being implemented in a future Pro Controller for the next gen Switch. Um, but yeah, no, that I feel it rounds out pretty well our thoughts. Do you have any other thoughts that maybe we can expand upon right now?
Like I've been thinking about like NFC, like how they would implement the amiibos,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it was just stay the same, right?
One
Right?
way that they can improve amiibos for the next gen Switch, it could be maybe unlocking themes and all that, because Okay, okay. There's one thing we can talk about real quick, and it's very simple. Ergonomics in the Switch. Number one, for next gen Switch, Nintendo, for the love of Jesus Christ, you need to have themes. You need
Yes.
to add themes. Period. There's no excuse. There's no reason why the Nintendo Switch, after 6 years, it does not have themes. This console should have themes. You should buy with the gold coins or the platinum coins that they're giving for My Nintendo program, but you should be able to buy these themes, and that way you can customize your Switch the best way that you want. Another thing that they could easily improve is you need to talk to these companies and to other, because why the hell does Netflix still not on the Switch? Come on,
What was the
Nintendo.
reason that Netflix didn't come to Switch?
I
I think
have
there was a reason, but
I have
I don't remember.
no idea really. I have no idea. But they definitely should be. Let me see. Let me see if I can find any stories about that. But I really don't feel um like so yeah, no, it's not um supposedly this is like a quick Google search, is because supposedly the main reason why Netflix is not on Nintendo Switch is because of the RM license issues, with which essentially means Nintendo has to pay some fee for every console they sell for the DRM rights. Apparently Nintendo doesn't want to invest this amount, of which means no Netflix for Nintendo Switch users.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that
uh
makes sense.
but that's quite interesting because we have apps like Hulu and
Hulu,
Funimation,
Crunchyroll, Animation, what
um,
else?
Twitch, and all that. But the thing I want to see is we don't have also Disney Plus, so we don't have the top two. We don't have the top three, so we don't have HBO Max or Disney Plus or Netflix. So that could be maybe the reason as well of why we don't have those apps on the Nintendo Switch console. Maybe those fees, and that way Nintendo just want to cheap out. You know how Nintendo will cheap out on some aspects. Um,
See,
but it's just a baffling thing that I feel, the Switch should have access to Netflix, should have access to Prime Video, should have access to Disney Plus, and definitely should have access to HBO Max. I think it's baffling that the Switch doesn't have access to those basic streaming services.
yeah, even the 3DS had it.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. It's just weird. Let's see, what other improvements can we apply for, like, maybe the operating system, because they finally added Bluetooth support with headsets, but that was like an obvious thing that they could have done from the beginning, but they decided not to.
yeah,
Then later on they finally added it, which is okay, thanks Jesus Christ.
thank you.
Yeah, definitely, and I really don't feel, I feel the Switch is a console that is to the point where it feels perfect. A handheld
Yeah,
that feels perfect. It just needs that a little extra boost on some little aspect. Just needs little fixes here and there, to improve what it already is. That's the thing. That's my thing. The Switch feels it feels perfect, and it just feels that the Nintendo's gonna Nintendo fuck it up, and just fuck it up really. Um, so I don't want that to happen. I pray to the Lord that that doesn't happen. Knocking on wood that that doesn't fucking happen.
yeah, man.
No, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to take the risk again of making a home console. Like, no.
Oh, you'll
Um,
be surprised, kiddo. Nintendo, yeah, I wouldn't take Nintendo out of the equation. They will hear those comments and they will immediately be like, you know what? Let's fuck it up again. We haven't fucked up in a while,
yeah.
and they just
You
gonna,
want to see
they're,
me do it again?
yeah,
You want to see me do it
yeah,
again?
and they're just gonna Nintendo Switch U. What do you think about it, baby?
No,
I just see it on the wall.
no.
I see it because you are the player. Oh, I can see the
You're the
marketing and everything already. Man, I can see it. That's it. Oh
yeah.
my god. But anyway, that sounds like a good brief way to wrap this episode up. I think we have talked about the most important parts of it. I feel that there's really not much we can talk about it besides all the aspects we have. Like we talked about how they can improve the system itself. You know, obviously we both agree that they should keep it as a hybrid, improving some aspects from the Joy Cons. Maybe the dock improving it a little bit more and some components for materials being built, and obviously being able to output to 4K, and some other nitpicks here and there from the user interface and the operating system. Um, but yeah, over besides that, it's good. The Switch is just a wonderful system. It really
It's a
is.
very good fucking console.
Hell yeah, and I think it's the best handheld gaming system that has ever come out. I think that in terms of software, I know a lot of people are gonna be like in the comments being like, "Oh, it's the DS and all that." And if that's the case, by all means, go to the comment section, guys. Just let's have a little war down there. But
Yeah.
I feel the Switch is respectively the best handheld system right now. I
So
hope.
well,
I
objectively, yeah. But me being biased at the amount that 3DS exists, I'm sorry.
Well, we'll see. We all have our wrong picks in life, and I guess that's yours.
Hey, hey.
um,
That's what I'm saying.
I wish Xbox was developing a handheld. Obviously, they have the Logitech, but that's more of XCloud, and PlayStation, I don't think is ever gonna try that again. Hopefully, they do. But the problem is that the Steam Deck can play both PlayStation and Xbox games. So I really, if you want that, if you were one of those people that is waiting for a PSP, just buy a Steam Deck. That's literally your PSP now.
I think their best move is just send their games just to a Steam Deck and that's it. Like their exclusives and shit.
Yeah, pretty much. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, like, and comment down below. What do you guys think about what is next for the Switch? Do you guys think it's gonna be like 4K, or it's just gonna be a copy paste, Control C, Control V of the Steam Deck, or do you really like it to look like those renders? Those renders are really, really weird. But anyway, guys, thanks Anita for accompanying me here today. This is gonna be a little bit shorter episode. Anything that you want to say before we go?
No, not really. You're wrong, I guess.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm just gonna then, say bye to everybody with these sweet, sweet words. Fuck you.